Saw dudes! This is Matt and Alia for the Who Goes There podcast for DreadCentral.com, wrapping up the final day of the Telluride Horror Show 2019, 10th anniversary. So sad it's over, but now we get to start planning for 2020, and we still have one final goodbye breakfast with our entire crew that we've been rolling with all weekend long.
Best of the best.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the movies we saw on day 3, beginning with...
I'm surprised we didn't split up this time.
You know what? Like, the lineup was pretty cut and dry what we wanted to see. There was only one time where I made a sacrifice of what I wanted to see, and that was on this day. So we'll get to that in just a moment. The first movie we started with was called The Deeper You Dig.
Oh, yeah.
It's a movie made by... husband, wife, and their 14, 16-year-old daughter.
16, yeah.
This is actually their 5th or 6th
15.
feature film. And she's been making movies since she was 6 years old. They did the sound design,
They've been
all
making
of the
movies
shooting.
since she was 6 years old.
Yeah, she didn't make a movie. But yeah, they did literally everything in this movie, and it's about a mother and daughter who live together, and the daughter dies. We won't tell you how. And the attempted cover-up of the murder. And I'll start with this one. I actually really liked The Deeper You Dig. I thought it was a bit long, but atmospherically it was really good. The director had said that they used all natural light for it, so it gave this really dark contrast to the film, because I think they filmed in like...
We don't have lighting rigs. We wouldn't even have anybody to hold them if we did.
Yeah, there's never more than like 2 of them on camera because one of them has to operate the camera. I really enjoyed it. I mean, stylistically, I think I enjoyed it the most. The story was a little drawn out, and
I know I wasn't alone, because that guy in the Q&A was asking about the sound design, and that was absolutely my favorite part of the movie. Was very impactful to give me the creeps.
Yeah, the director had said he would do things like, he's actually renovating a house, so he would record parts of it, like opening the washer and dryer doors, like, and then he would stretch out the sound wave, so it would be really creepy sounding.
They clearly have a lot of fun doing this, you know. The story was good. It was weird in the end. It got like a little weird.
Yeah.
But I liked where the little esoteric tarot card and like supernatural knowledge that the mom clearly is interested in something like that, or they were making it up real good.
Watching the mom do the tarot cards really made me wish we would have got those Binding of Isaac tarot cards. Some of the acting... I feel like they've suffered from not hiring and working with, industry Union
people.
Actors.
Yeah, they don't have to pay anyone. They make movies at their leisure. It's really amazing. But I feel like if like a little mentoring or something like that, like having a chance to work with somebody who's more experienced and who's had a chance to like work and study in that same industry might benefit them all. The mother, though, was for me the standout actress.
They were all the best.
They weren't
bad,
like
but they weren't.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. But
Oscar winning.
Yeah.
The ending does get a little fucking kooky. That's the best way to describe it. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't like the ending. It just gets a little weird. It definitely doesn't go where you thought it was going to go. But all in all, for this being their first horror film and them doing the movie completely on their own, financing it themselves and doing all that, it really gives you an appreciation for what they accomplished.
They definitely have a feel for it, like there's a lot of carcasses in the movie that he was saving roadkill for like a month.
Yeah, there is a scene with a dead coyote in it, and I was like, that coyote looks like it just died. like they just shot it and dragged it into the house, and he apparently just saves all the roadkill he finds. I want to say
in preparation for this film.
It's either in New York or Kentucky.
New York.
Was it?
The license plates all were New York license plates.
I didn't pay attention to that. Like, I missed that key detail. I did say I saw that it said Kentucky in the credits, but Yeah, well, I guess it's in New York, which makes it even cooler because it definitely doesn't. It looks like it's middle of nowhere, Canada. It's freezing cold.
New York is not just the city, but
I know. Yeah, there's a lot of like overlapping themes in these movies that we saw. Next, shared something with Seder and After Midnight, and that movie is VFW. I won't tell you what it shares because it kind of just ruins something in all three of those movies. But VFW, the new film by Joe Begos,
super fun,
and Josh Ethier. Fuck.
We needed to watch a movie like this while we were out here.
This was what we needed.
Be on the, like, yeah.
You know, we'd had a lot of like horror light while we were out here. We've had a lot of horror comedy while we were out here.
A lot of atmospheric shit.
Yeah, so this was just balls to the wall, blood and guts. It's if you've ever seen Assault on Precinct 13, it's essentially the same thing, except now it's like kind of tweakers essentially rating a VFW. Mm-hmm. It's grizzled old man the movie, and I fucking love it. Like if you ever played
lead, what's his name? Oh god,
he's the guy. The old blind man from Don't Breathe. He's in it.
Super charming, like so charismatic.
The super buff black guy from Dusk Till Dawn, and literally everything else you've seen is in it. There's a couple other people where it's like, oh shit, George Wendt from Cheers is in it.
Oh, it's so good.
But that movie, man, it's from basically the first 10 minutes, after the first 10 minutes, it's just
Stephen Lang.
Insanity. Stephen Lang, that's his name. Insanity. Director Joe Begos was here again.
Smile.
And this movie is one of the movies at the Telluride Horror Show where I definitely plan on buying a Blu-ray. Because this is something that I feel like we'll watch over again.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that we'll want to show our friends. Like, oh, you want to see something fucking cool? Watch this. And I think
a lot of our friends would like it, yeah.
I think Alia put it really well. Like, she felt kind of exhausted after VFW because it's just like... It's
action-packed.
Yeah, it's nonstop. Like, they'll have like a fight and then the fight will go on for 10 minutes. They'll take like a 3 to 5 minute break to
and then it's like
gather some new weapons, and then it's like, cool, let's do it again. VFW was really
gory.
The breath of fresh air that we needed at this year's horror show. We didn't get all that extreme violence that I like.
That's what everyone was expecting from Golden Handshoe, and got at VFW.
I honestly expected a little bit of this in Mutant Blast too, being a trauma released film, but. Nothing touched VFW in terms of violence and gore. And this is the movie where I had the conflict. I wanted to see a movie called The Wretched, but, it gets really hard to stay awake for some of these late night showings, so we skipped the first screening of VFW, and so I sacrificed watching The Wretched. But that was my own choice, because I really wanted to see VFW. Next, we went and saw the new film by Can Evernal, who's done Housewife, which showed at Telluride Horror Show 2 years ago, and did Baskin, which showed at Telluride Horror Show in 2015. I'll let you start, because this is definitely more of an Alia movie.
What? I loved it. You know? Like, I fucking loved it. Everybody was mentioning vibes of Tigers Are Not Afraid, and I think that's just because it's like children versus violent adults
who are chasing them.
But aside from that, the very dystopian sort of world, like the children are away from civilization; they're not a part of it, and. I don't know. I loved it. Alan was saying a lot of the imagery is very like Peter Pan, right? The Lost Boys.
Yeah, I was saying it's like Hook meets Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Yeah. But the story's unique and touching, and just like they got really great kid actors, so good job, Can. I loved it, like beginning to end. Yeah. It got me hella in my feels. Every movie has got me in my feels in this weekend.
Yeah.
Even VFW, honestly, I cried.
Mucho lágrimas.
Oh my God, that one had me like sniffling though.
I actually really liked it. I'd heard before that it wasn't going to be like Cannes' other movies.
We heard fairy tale.
Yeah, it definitely
fantasy.
wasn't. It wasn't fairy tale. It wasn't.
It
fantasy.
wasn't fantastical at all. There were like no fantasy elements except for the lighting and the visual stylistic look of it, like the sound design and the lighting maybe evokes that fantasy feel, but as far as what's happening on screen, nothing is really fantasy, magic. No, nothing like that.
It's a real good movie. I mean, I want to say it's like a good date night movie, just because it'll hit the feels, but like it's a little too sad in parts to be a date movie. But yeah, if you're looking for violence, honestly, I don't think this is a horror film. Like,
what would you call it
all? See, like my brain instantly went to fantasy, but like there's nothing fantastical about it.
It's all based in like science and stuff. There's like a little bit like they do have an element of like not like superpower, but kind of like enhanced senses, right? But that's it. Like, and there's some evidence to that anyway, so it's not like nothing fantasy about it.
Yeah, there's a really cute little kid in there that reminds me of Alia's nephew.
Oh. Badger?
Yeah, it totally reminded me of Hunter.
Those eyes.
There's not a whole lot you can say about it without giving stuff away, and I mean, since it's from Cannes, I'm sure it'll be out. It'll get a release date.
It's not like his other work, though.
Yeah, there's like very minimal violence. There's no like crazy skinned people like there have been in his movies.
There is some, like I think like some of the deformities might be scary to like a younger
children. Yeah, and there's definitely some death that's dealt with. But yeah, I think most of the death occurs via gun, so it's not like anything extremely brutal either. It's still a really great film, and I definitely recommend watching that.
It has some funny moments too. It's not just all fucking depressing.
If you're looking for something horror, then
it's sweet.
This isn't what you want.
So
finally, we move on to the last film that we watched at the Telluride Horror Show 2019. A film that they so generously put up directly against Who Goes There podcast trivia. And that film is the highly anticipated release coming this February, The Lodge. I'm going to start. I did not like The Lodge. I was very disappointed. I thought the trailer painted it in a light that it was not even close to. There was elements in articles and in the trailer that led you to kind of believe it might be a cult story, and it wasn't. Maybe. I'm not exactly sure how long the movie is. I'm guessing it's probably in the neighborhood of 90 minutes, but it felt like 9 hours for me. It was very uneventful, and I guess if you like movies that are...
Aside from One Bedroom, this is probably the most let down for me because
definitely.
I was hype. Everybody was hype around me, and I think maybe expectations. But
well, expectations and us were very high, and like the movie just did not deliver. It dragged for a long time. Things didn't really start happening until the last 20, 30 minutes, and even then it was just like, oh, that's what's going on? Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, one of our friends... Oh, God, is it a spoiler? If I ask what... thing where it was going, and... Oh, my God, that's a super spoiler. You gotta cut it out.
I don't think that's a spoiler.
No, it's a spoiler. It's a spoiler. Don't.
Okay, I will cut that out. Where were we before that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was disappointing for a lot of people. The ending kind of.
Yeah, the ending was very like.
It was a bit of a shart.
They saw a similar ending with The Deeper You Dig, and I honestly enjoyed their version of the ending more.
Wait, how similar?
I'll explain it in a minute.
Okay.
I am a little bit excited because if you've heard my take on the movie Brain Scan and Trickster and his whole endeavor, I have another conspiracy theory for this movie.
For what movie?
For The Lodge. And I have to wait until it's out before I can expand on my conspiracy theory.
God.
But there is one. And to me, it makes the movie infinitely better. So yeah, The Lodge, overall I was very disappointed. I thought it was pretty much a letdown. It was lackluster, and it really capitalized on having a strong trailer, but just failed to deliver otherwise.
If you're watching for Richard Armitage, he's there.
A little. Okay, so with all that being said, let's do the thing we normally do, and let's give our top 3 films of the Telluride Horror Show. They don't have to they don't have to be in a specific order.
Okay.
But I will give my top 3. And you know what? I am gonna do these in order.
After Midnight.
After Midnight is hands down my number 1.
It's gonna be in my top 3 too.
Goddamn, that movie ticked literally every single box for me. It had monsters, it had horror, it had really strong relationship stuff, like really strong romance stuff. It was
brilliant dialogue, as usual from that duo.
Brilliant dialogue. Christian Stella killed it with the the cinematography, and honestly, I think this is going to be a standout this year,
for
next year,
very many years to come.
If you got sick of us talking about The Battery on every episode of the Who Goes There podcast,
just
get ready,
wait,
because we'll probably be talking about After Midnight quite a bit. Second for me is BFW. Like, this is what I come to these places for. Is just balls to the wall, blood and guts, and it kind of verged on being a trauma movie, like with how slapsticky some of the blood and guts were. But you know what? A+ from me. I absolutely love that. And speaking of trauma, my third favorite of the entire thing is
Mutant Blast.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a tie between Mutant Blast and Making Monsters, but like
I can't decide.
I
can't even
way more fun
narrow
with
it down
Mutant
to
Blast.
3.
Like Jean-Pierre the Lobster.
Jean-Pierre.
Like, if Jean-Pierre is not an international superstar after this movie, then like there is no justice in the world.
Oh
Give that crustacean an Oscar now. So those are my 3 standouts for the Telluride Horror Show. The only one that I don't like is One Bedroom, and I would personally say avoid that at all costs. But that's just me.
Like The Lodge.
I don't like The Lodge. I feel like it's one of those movies where if I watch it a couple more times, I can maybe start to develop an appreciation for it. But One Bedroom, like, I don't want to say I hated One Bedroom, but I very close to hated One Bedroom. So that's...
Yeah, there was some nice stylistic choices in what's it called? The Lodge. Nicole mentioned that they shot the house to look like a dollhouse, like when as the characters are in it.
You know, like they didn't do that in Hereditary or anything.
Anyways, my top. Can I go with top 5? Because like I can't, dude. Jesus.
Sure.
After Midnight, right? Mutant Blast was amazing. Also, I would have to put it in my top something. But then I'm like torn between The Golden Glove, Girl with No Mouth. Oh.
Okay, so you have those 2. If they were doing a screening right now, it's one final Monday morning screening where it's Girl with No Mouth, Golden Handshoe.
So mean!
Golden Handshoe, and whatever your other
Can
thing.
I just put another one and make it a top 5? Let's say, I don't know, Making Monsters or Daniel Isn't Real.
Okay. Well, you've been saying all weekend that a lot of the movies are very much on the same quality level, that you like them all pretty much equally, but you feel that
Golden Glove, Girl with No Mouth, Mutant Blast, and
After Midnight. With After Midnight and Mutant Blast being the standouts of those.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you that I feel like they're
that's what we share. So yeah, I guess that kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, so that's our wrap up for the Telluride Horror Show 2019. As always, we are honored to be able to be here and be a part of this. Thank you to Ted and Anna for putting this whole thing on year after year, and all of your cast and crew. Thank you to Travis for helping us out. Thank you to Brad and Becky for hosting the Who Goes There podcast trivia. And thank you to our huge Telluride crew this year. We got
all the homies.
Yeah. Hans, Mitch, Nicole, Jazzy, Dustin, Alan, Stephanie, and there's 2 more, and it's going to drive me fucking crazy. But thank you. Oh, wait, we're the other 2.
No, well, yeah.
So thank you guys so much. We really, really, really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing all of you in Telluride in 2020. Second weekend of October. Start booking your hotel rooms. Once again, I am Matt for the Who Goes There podcast for dreadcentral.com. This has been the lovely Alia. Thank you guys so much. We are going to go get brekkies.